moving to tight end for a chance to play for the Jags. Urban Meyer said he uses the result of drills during camp to determine his starters and which bubble players make the roster. The good news for Tebow is that one NFL insider predicted the 33-year-old will end up making the Jags roster. Chris Broussard, what % chance do you give Tebow to be on the Jags roster week 1?
I'm going to say 70%. Look, I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's 30. He'll be 34 years old next week. He's playing a new position. I don't think there's any way he's good enough to make this team. But let's face the facts. He's not good enough to even get a tryout at this point in his career. Okay, at a new position. And so Urban Meyer clearly wants to keep him. And unless Tebow is out there absolutely embarrassing himself, dropping passes, missing blocks all the time, totally looks out of place, I think Urban Meyer will find a way to keep him. I think he'll be the third-string tight end. They're thin at that position. I think he'll try to get him in on special teams if he can. Maybe even some gimmicky part in the backfield or something like that. Or maybe he won't play at all, but he'll be on the roster. Remember, Urban Meyer's trying to build a culture. He's not just building a one-year team. He's trying to build a culture, and I think he wants Tebow's personality, his leadership, his commitment, his work ethic, all of that, his loyalty to the coach. I think he wants all of that to permeate his locker room. He also is a man of faith, obviously, as is Trevor Lawrence. Maybe he wants that. I think he's going to try to find a way to keep Tebow on the roster. It's not just based on ability, because he doesn't have the ability probably to be there right now, but he's there.
Did you guys see the routes?
I think it's a good chance he keeps him.
I wasn't laughing at your take. I was laughing at the routes that I was laughing at the routes that were being used as examples. Like this first one that's about to pop up. This one is a gagger, bro. Here we go. Get out of that hook. I'm going to run. Okay, that was a very slow.
Are you headed towards 0%?
Let me run this bend-in route. Oh, yeah, let me get there. 20 seconds. Let me jab him inside. Let me fake him inside. Let me get this. Oh, my goodness.
All right, give us a number.
He looked like Herman Monster out there trying to run routes out there. Let me tell you something. It's 1%, and that 1% is because of all the things that Chris Broussard just said. Okay, I don't need to rehash the reasoning you just gave, Broussard. That's the 1%. If you get to know Urban Meyer, which I had the pleasure and honor and opportunity to get to know him working here, and we talked so much football. He gave me so much helpful advice, helped me draw up some plays for my team. So we had some great interactions, mutual respect. And what I got to know from him was listening to the things that he spoke of. Whenever I've been around a great coaches always have this amazing way of looking at the detail of what the situation presents and being able to maximize it with more details that are small details that add up to the big details. Y'all run that back later and listen to it, because there's a whole lot of truth in what I just gave you. And Coach Urban Meyer is that type of guy. I do not see him doing a I am connected to you emotionally pickup of Tim Tebow. I do not value him looking at it from a sensibility standpoint of, oh, he's a Christian and Trevor's a Christian. This might be a great thing for them to be Christian together. I do not look at him sentimentally valuing bringing Tim Tebow into the locker room to be a culture builder for what Urban Meyer is going to do. It's all overstated. It's all overrated. Athletes these days know who Tim Tebow are, but he ain't coming in that locker room with grown men, which, by the way, some of them dudes might even be older than Tim Tebow, and the younger ones probably don't even know who Tim Tebow is. He's not coming in that locker room, and they're sitting there going crazy over Tim Tebow as my teammate. I'm going to be a better guy culturally because of Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to make me a different person. I'm going to be that guy. That's not what's going to happen in that locker room in Jacksonville in a professional locker room. It's not going to happen. That value is come and gone. And really, I don't know if that value was really ever there as a pro for Tim Tebow. So now it comes down to just what does he bring to the table? What does he bring to the table as a tight end? I don't think it's very much. I don't feel bad saying it because it's the truth. He's not a tight end, and he's not going to be a good tight end. So you know what this is. If Tim Tebow, in the 1% chance that I give him to make this roster, if Tim Tebow makes this roster, do you know what that says about Jacksonville's team and their chances, as we talked about with J-Mac yesterday, winning their division and making the playoffs? It says scratch all of those things off of your list. This is not going to be a competitive team. If Tim Tebow is able to come in out of retirement for as long as he's been in retirement for and be talented enough and good enough and has emotional and sentimental value enough to be placed on this roster at any capacity, says to me that the Jacksonville Jaguars are not even close to being what they're supposed to be. And don't expect Urban Meyer to use sentimental value as a reason to pull Tim Tebow on the team. That's his tryout. His tryout is the sentimental value, not making the team.
All right, I got to take a deep breath here because LeVar basically just tried to tell everybody that the Jags will not have any chance to win the division because of their third-string tight end, which is what Tebow would be. Third-string tight end.
100%.
Stop. Tim Tebow is 100% making this team. I mean, look at, you just need to drill down. Let's start at the tight end position.
Is that a bet?
Let's just start
Is that a bet, Broussard?
Let's start there.
I said 1%.
You don't want the tight end position. The starter on the depth chart
he's making all these loud,
12 receptions
but he runs
in 6 years. He has 12 receptions. Can he go on the special teams and be a gadget guy where he's throwing a pass on a fake punt? Can he be this? Can he hold for the kicker? Can he throw a pass on a trick play? Can the starter do that? The backup, by the way, he's played a little bit more. He has 4 touchdowns in 3 years. Remember, they got rid of Tyler Eifert.
Anybody can make it to the NFL.
The third-string tight end, Luke Fickell. I'm sorry, I might have butchered his name. It's not Luke Fickell. He is a guy named Luke from Ohio State. They drafted him in the 5th round. Urban Meyer knows him well. Who does Urban Meyer bring in as 4th string? Tim Tebow, his neighbor in Jacksonville. And this idea that Tim Tebow comes into the locker room and people don't know who he is. Like, if you know football and you've played football at any level, I don't care if you had braces on or you were doing 7th grade algebra, you know Tim Tebow. He was one of the most dominant players in college football over the last 2 decades. Everybody and their mom knows Tim Tebow. He's been on Oprah. This guy's huge, okay?
What?
Tim Tebow is making this team. Is he going to be a factor?
What
I don't know. I don't know if he's making
What do y'all say? Ain't nobody care.
Nobody cares about Tim Tebow.
J-Mac, don't
high school players in Florida, goes to play baseball. Everybody knows Tim Tebow.
I was player of the year in high school.
You were special. Everybody knows LeVar Arrington.
Pick in high school.
Tim Tebow won 2 titles, won a Heisman, made speeches.
Nobody know who I am.
He might have 3 statues in Gainesville for all I know.
Bring me in a locker room
Tim Tebow's making the team. Now, is he going to be a factor on the team?
Crazy.
I don't know. Broussard said a lot of smart things that LeVar tried to dismiss about his faith and a culture guy. LeVar, you know this. Anytime you get a job somewhere, you want to bring in your guys, right? You got to have soldiers loyal to you, being part of your team.
Yeah,
that's what Tim Tebow is for Urban Meyer.
Have the credibility of bringing in the right guys.
I'm absolutely shocked that you put it at 1%. Broussard said 70. I've got 100. So it's probably, I would go between 70 and 100 if you guys are looking for the answer.
It's probably 70.
LeVar, this is I think you're the farthest away on any take this week.
LeVar, get a close-up of that.
He is...
Go ahead, LeVar. Try to puncture a hole in anything.
I'm with you. Look, I'm with you in that he's not good enough to make the team. All right, you spelled that out. We know he's not good enough.
How do you know he's not good enough?
Why in the world is he even there?
Are you reading the reports? Have you seen him do any of these awful things they put out here?
He was not good enough the first time at his position. He was not good enough the first time at his position.
With the Jets, the dysfunctional Jets, my favorite team, who I know has been a dumpster fire for a decade.
J-Mac, as usual, you're going overboard. All right? Just leave it at where I left it, 70%.
That's crazy.
There's no way he's good enough. He's 34 years old. He's old. He wasn't good enough in his prime, but that's my point. LeVar, he shouldn't be in training camp. You got a better reason to be at the training camp than he does.
That's the sentimental value.
You would be better at the training camp than him.
Hey, he gets to put
but he's gonna make it.
He gets to put in his memoirs and in his
He's 33. He's not doing memoirs.
He goes and does his speeches and talks about how he's overcome the odds in life. He gets to say that he came out of retirement and got a tryout in training camp. But this story will not end with him being on a roster.